as you say, that you're on with any character. You have to, what are my circumstances? Where am I? What's going on? Where did I just come from? Where am I going? That kind of thing.
Amazing. I know at many of the panels that we've done, there's always quite a few people who have thought about that they'd like to get into something like voice acting. And with how big it's gotten, you know, and even if you think about since the late 90s, early 2000s, how big it's gotten. Any advice you might have for anyone here joining us today who might think that VO could be something really cool?
I do. Take an acting class. Take a beginning acting class. Doesn't need to be voiceover. Take an acting class so that you know what a director is asking you to do when they're asking you. You'll learn a lot of terminology and figure out what you need to do in that way. And then take a voiceover class as well, which is just a basic learn how to use the mic. How far away to get from it, what happens when you walk into a studio so that you don't feel really awkward when you first walk into a studio. And then practice a lot. When I first started doing voiceovers, I would record the radio and I would just listen to the commercials. Sounds boring, but I would do that all the time to figure out what are people wanting, what do they want to hear. Listen to the video games if you want to do video games, listen to the video games that you love the most, start mimicking those people, and then you'll find you can become fluid enough doing that you'll start creating your own. You just will come naturally.
Yeah, find your voice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's nothing more I can add. I think improv classes are a good experience because so much of what we do you know, you're always auditioning for a gig. My wife is also a voiceover artist, and she always tells a story of one of her kids when he was young, that was in school or whatever, asked what his mother did for a living, and he said, she auditions. Which was,
really
you know,
sad.
of course, out of the mouths of babes, because that's what you do. 99% of your work is auditioning for a job you didn't get. And then the 1% is, you know,
beginning to act.
You know, so the point of the improv sort of thing is you need to create things on the fly. You need to be ready to shift on a dime and make adjustments quickly to a script you saw 5 minutes ago. And that kind of skill is a really important skill to have, I think.
I'm going to pause for just a second because I don't think we ran through this, but I don't want to deny Orlando the opportunity. If I could ask for some of the guys in front of house to just get a microphone or two ready, and we'll maybe try to sneak in some audience Q&A before we wrap, and we'll just do that kind of selecting by show of hands. I don't want to cause any chaos with people running up and getting in line, but in just a moment we'll have some of the front of house guys just maybe get a mic to go around to do a little bit of audience Q&A. Just by a show of hands, we'll get into that.
Wait, we're going to have to rap? I am not good at rapping.
We talked about this. Cortana rap could be good. You and I, we've had some good ideas today. So another thing that Jen had said she wanted to do, because Jen came by for the 343 community playdate earlier, and Jen was like, I should maybe just, and she was totally joking at the time, but she's like, I would love to do color commentary for all this gameplay. And I was like, are you kidding me? Do you guys think that sounds like a good idea?
Yes!
Oh my God, it'd be so dope. Like, oh my God, he jumped, and then he's running. Oh, he's running, you guys, he's running. It would be so boring.
No, it is going to be...
All right, it's going to happen.
Yes.
We're going to do it with me, though, so you can actually...
We'll do it together.
You got to give us some good information, I can give the stupid information.
I think you'll do a lot better.
Obviously.
I think you'll do a lot better than you might think. But before, do I have a thumbs up on questions from the front of house so we can do that? Oh, sweet, we got thumbs up. That's awesome.
Yay.
Thank you, guys. Last question I want to ask before we get into some Q&A is, you know, after all these years, if you had to say, what does it mean, you know, to be a part of this franchise? What does it mean to be a part of Halo?
Oh, that's a tough
one. That's the biggest honor,
yeah.
To be involved in something that feels this global, that has affected so many people's lives. It's really, we feel blessed, I think.
Well, totally. I mean, you know, for me, on somewhat of a superficial level, I'm living a boyhood dream. I mean, when I was a boy, you know, and all the kids I grew up with, who didn't want to be Superman? Who didn't want to be Batman? Who didn't want to be Spider-Man? Who didn't want to be the superhero? And, you know, here I am, way past 21, and
25,
Yeah,
whatever.
and get to play a superhero.
Yeah.
And it's so, on that, sort of a superficial level, I mean, it's just a personal kick. But it's, and as we talked about this, a little earlier about, interacting with the fans and understanding how important the game is to the people who play it. This is a humbling experience, and one that I think, carries a certain bit of responsibility.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
It's you got to honor the characters and honor the fans who put them there. So thank you.
Jen, how about for you?
Well, I think as I was saying, it is humbling and it's an honor, and there is a very intense sense of responsibility of taking care of these people who we love just as much as you do. So, and it is, we get to, because we're voiceover actors, we get to fly under the radar most of the time. So we live our lives totally under the radar. So when we come to these things, it's really overwhelming to get to meet everybody and to see everyone, because we don't get this kind of feedback.
Yeah, right.
I don't get this kind of respect at home.
We don't.
I don't get this kind.
That's true.
We get to be mild-mannered reporters, working for a great metropolitan newspaper.
Oh my God, this is our Superman moment. So it's really remarkable, and to feel connected to you guys through the game. It sounds so cheesy, but it does feel like, oh, these are my people. These are my friends. These are my people. We're all.
Yeah, I mean, myself included, and everyone here, I think it's safe to say we've spent so many hours with both of you. So can we give them a round of applause? Thank you guys.
Yes!
Well, and the other personal benefit for me is I give my mom something she can brag about, my 98-year-old mother, who still refers to my character as the master chef. And I gave up trying to,
You're like, yes,
fine.
Mom.
Master Chef.
I'm master
Grandma.
chef.
Grandma, yes.
Excellent. I'd love to give an opportunity for this fantastic Orlando crowd to give a few questions. So if I can ask my audio help here. Beef's got the mic. Throw your hands up if you have a question for Steve and Jen, and do let us know if it's for both of them or if it's targeted at Steve and Jen. I'd say Beef, just go ahead and pick someone, and then you can
please,
have my mic on spot.
Oh, please, man.
I'm being told, excuse me, how dare I, that they're going to be coming straight to the middle aisle, which I absolutely should have known.
Oh, hello.
Can you hold this?
All right, Beef, go ahead and yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the picture.
Oh, we need the mic on. We've got the mic. Yeah, that's good. But we can't hear you. Hello?
It was all going so.
Yes.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
You can use mine.
What do you bet it's a battery?
Hello?
You got it yet?
It's
Yeah, you got
always
it.
the battery.
Yeah, you still have it?
You
had it. Hello?
Really? You can use mine.
I'll use yours.
You've got a
take this
microphone.
Hello? Okay. I'm a huge fan of fiction. I've collected literally every piece of the fiction with the exception of loot crates because I don't get into that. But I even brought a copy of Halsey's journal to be signed tomorrow.
Yeah.
But my question for both of you is, did y'all ever read any of the novels? And if so, did you like any of them?
Halo Reach, the Fall of Reach, rather, was that was such a gift.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I. Oh.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I get it.
Yeah.
I thought it was well written and fun, and you talk about fleshing out a story. It was really well done.
It was extremely helpful to us, as I said, because we didn't get a ton of information. So it was great to get all of that background info.
And Jen, what was your favorite novel?
I would say the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, with the titans of actors you guys have had in the Halo franchise, such as Nathan Fillion, Keith David, Ron Perlman, have you guys worked with any of them? And if so, which ones were your favorite to talk with?
Yeah, I've met them all, but never worked in the studio
Have you?
with.
Did you meet Ron Perlman?
Oh no, except for Ron. I'm sorry. Keith David and Nathan Fillion. Keith David is one of my favorite actors and voiceover actors, and I met him at a convention a couple of years ago, and I was the biggest fanboy you ever saw. You know, just like, oh my God, it's Keith David. You know. And
I think I was there.
Yeah,
No, wasn't I there? You were completely geeking out.
I was totally geeking out. And he's the nicest guy in the world and just a giant of a talent. So that was a personal thrill.
We haven't worked with any. I mean, I met Nathan Fillion because Marty O'Donnell knew that I had a crush on Captain Mao. It was very awkward. We were at a restaurant, and he said, "Oh yeah, let's have dinner." And we were in LA having dinner, and said, "And I've got a friend who's meeting us for drinks." And I was like, "Okay." And all of a sudden, I look up, and there's this huge guy. Nathan's huge, running across the restaurant, going, "Cortana!" And I stood up and I went, "Captain Mel, I love you." That was that. But we never worked together. No. Oh,
That's good.
Mike's.
Whatever Mike's getting.
All right.
Are
I'm
you
back.
You're back.
I'll take the moment before we ask this question. I remember you and I were at the USO in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was
Great. Wow.
it was Pete Stacker,
Yes.
Tim Dadabo, and yourself. I remember the first time Pete Stacker came up to you and he goes, "It's good to see you again, Chief." And like I was like, and just in this full voice, and I was like, I'll never forget like the full body chills I felt when I had Captain Keys saying, "It's good to see you again, Chief." Like right in front of me, I was like, "Wow, I can't believe this has happened."
Yeah.
Beef, I think we're ready for the next question.
Put that mic right up to your mouth.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
That's okay.
Anyway, I've been playing Halo since 2009. After, like, some things happened in my life a little bit. So, yeah. Anyway.
And that happened.
Anyway. Yeah. Bleh. Halo 3 is my favorite game, and I want to know what your guys' favorite Halo game?
Well, I mean, as far as, again, we got to work together in Halo 4, so that was really fun for us to do. And we got to expand our characters in ways that we hadn't. I remember when I first went in to record Halo 4, the first thing they said to me was, "Can you cry on cue?" And I was like, "Oh, buddy.
You have no idea.
Oh, get ready for this." So that, I mean, that was my favorite. Just in that, I got to do a lot of different stuff. I had so much fun playing when she like separates. We did all this crazy stuff, and the person who's directing me was like, "Okay, so we're gonna layer all these voices together. So we're just gonna throw a whole bunch of stuff. So I want little girl Cortana," and so I would do the line. And, "Okay, now I want old wizard Cortana." I mean, we just did all sorts of crazy stuff. It was really fun. That was really fun.
Yeah, Halo 4. I mean, for all the above reasons. And I remember when when it became obvious that Halo 4 was going to happen, and it was the first time also that I got to see a script in
Beforehand.
advance.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about 5 minutes beforehand. I'm talking about a week beforehand, and not just my lines, but the script, the story. Yeah. And I was like, this was like, oh, this is great. I mean, it was like where I'd always hoped this thing would eventually turn, and to see it happen was a gas. So yeah, Halo 4 for sure.
Thanks for the question.
Thank you.
You hear me good?
Yep.
Okay. So, I met you guys early last night, actually. So that was fun. I have my legendary Halo 3 helmet in my bag here. Hopefully I can get it signed tomorrow, but I know earlier you guys were talking about how you guys never really met each other at all until Halo 4. And I know, Jen, you said you'd never really even seen Cortana until after Halo 3 came out. But one of my favorite scenes of the entire franchise was Chief finding Cortana in High Charity. And I wanted to know if you personally, and this is a question for both of you, if you guys have seen that cutscene, if you know what I'm talking about, where she says, I thought I'd try shooting my way out. And I want to know if you can remember that and tell me what you felt. Just the dynamic duo of just Chief. It was a very emotional and it was a great example of you can have so much emotion with just so little words. So I want to know what your take on that is, what you felt for the both of you.
I don't remember exactly what I felt when I was recording that. So often, what you do is you're given your circumstance. They'll give you your circumstance. This is what's happening in this moment. This is what you're going through. Now give me 3 takes. I want 3 very different takes. And then so much of that, frankly, is providing them with as many options as you possibly can, and then having a good editor who says, great, this is the story we're trying to build, this is where I want to go with it, this is the take that's going to bring us to that place that Jen gave me. Because Steve's going to go, yeah.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Cortana.
Blah, 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 blah.
Cortana.
I have a whole bunch of technical jargon to say. Here it is. What's really fascinating now, sorry I'm jumping away from this, is now we're memorizing all of that stuff because we're doing performance capture. So I have to memorize all of those lines. Yeah, thank you for the sympathy growth.
My favorite in the scene that you're talking about there, I mean, how often in one's career do you get paid to say, thought I'd try shooting my way? Mix things up. It was just fun to do.
Yeah.
It was just fun to do.
Those iconic lines that people like the most are the ones that they were the most fun to say, frankly. Bet you can't stick it. You heard
You're on.
Me just laughing maniacally through that entire thing. It's terrible. Anyway, thank you for your question. We babbled.
Yeah.
I think we got time for one more question.
Oh no. I mean, oh yes.
Maybe 2.
2.
Let's do 2.
Let's do
Sure.
2.
To add to your story about people who passed college and missed college over the years, I actually almost missed a job interview one time because of Halo.
Uh-oh.
But I did get the job.
But you got hired.
No, I got hired.
Well
I did
done.
So you're saying you got the job because of Halo?
Yeah, let's go with
about
that.
it. Let's go with that.
Let's go with that.
So my question is, ultimately for these characters, depending on how the story goes, do you see yourself 10, 15 years from now still playing these characters?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Who knows? If we're lucky enough to, it depends on what 343 wants to do with them. But
I mean, the way I feel, every day's a gift at this point, And, so, yeah.
you guys have Steve's walker back there. Every day.
I gotta finish the fight. Oh no, what have I done?
Oh God.
I think we got time. Yeah, let's do one more.
Steve, this question is for you. Where would you like to see Master Chief go as a character in Infinite and maybe beyond? Just for
Infinity
you.
and beyond?
Yeah, Infinity and beyond.
France, Paris.
Yeah.
Have a baguette. Stupid time.
I can't. I have no specifics in that regard, and I preface all of this by saying I also have zero knowledge, actual real knowledge of, what the future may bring. But Master Chief is, I don't know, I got like 18 different thoughts running into
You
my
have
head.
zero knowledge? Because I read the Halo Infinite script.
That's a dangerous thing to say in a place like this.
Wow. I can't help you now, girl. Sorry. But I think from a fantasy standpoint, I see him at some point dying a hero's death. I don't know that there's any other way. I don't see Master Chief retiring.
Growing old in Boca.
Yeah, and playing golf, and I see him, in that way. That it's the logical end to a character such as that. So we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Guys, that's going to do it for us. We're a little bit over on time.
Thank you so
Please
much.
give it up for Steve and Jen.
Thank you very much. Hey, what do you think of Halo Outpost, huh?
Ollie Oxy Free!
Let's do it again in Philadelphia.
Steve and Jen, this has been so fun for me.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to do even more of it. And we should give, for ourselves, let's give this crowd a round of applause.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. We'll have more coming on the content stage later today. You can also catch Steve and Jen around the venue. Keep an eye on schedules for that. And we'll see you for more on the content stage. Thank you again.